Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Purnima from Fertility Dost, and today we have Dr. Aarti with us she's senior consultant from Medicover Fertility, Gurgaon. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Purnima. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
And today with Dr. Aarti, we are going to talk about a very common topic which we all are facing at one or the other time. That is recurring implantation failure. We always start our IVF journey, or rather, I would say our fertility journey with a positive note. But in between, we lost hope, and at times, we feel stressed out also, just because of recurring failures. But today, we'll talk and discuss the most important facts about this, why these failures are happening, and yes, what we can do to avoid these failures. And with Dr. Aarti, we are going to take this beautiful journey of motherhood further. So, Dr. Aarti, first of all, why these failures? We know that success rate of IVF is 40 to 45, and at times doctors say it is around 50% of success rate. But
Yes.
why these failures and why they recur again and again?
Yeah. So that is what. So Purnima, so when we meet the couple here in Medicover, initially there'll be a good initial evaluation where we'll get a proper medical history and everything, and we'll counsel them. We'll take them through the process of IVF. It's not only IVF because we evaluate and whatever is needed. Sometimes a couple they might need simple monitoring with medications, ultrasound, and all that. Sometimes IUI and then IVF. Yes, so through this process, we just tell them there might be chance. It's not that, see, because for couple who visit us, they would have tried, they would have visited multiple gynecologists, sometimes fertility specialists as well, and then they come to us. And we have seen patients who have failed also, like this recurrent implantation failure, what we are talking today, they would have failed like 2, 3 IVF cycles and they'll come. So this is not something new for any fertility specialist because we face this daily. And failure also, yes, any IVF cycle, given the best, like, maybe you would have given the best of stimulations, we've got good quality embryos with a good lining, the cycle can fail. So there are so many reasons why the cycle can fail. And yes, when it happens multiple times, that becomes an anxious factor both for the patient and the clinician also will be like alert, will try to analyze, because IVF is not like just okay, we have done it and 100% I'm going to expect it. We'll just, it's like a ladder, stepwise we try to analyze. So the important things here, so before that I would like to tell basically in pregnancy what happens. Leave apart IVF. So pregnancy, what happens when there is an egg which we get from the female partner, and the sperm is there from the ejaculate of men. So the egg and the sperm, they join together in the fallopian tube, that forms an embryo. So in IVF we do this in the lab. So after this embryo is formed, it travels inside in a natural cycle and comes and implants inside the uterus. The uterus has a lining. The lining is formed so that it can receive the embryo, and then it can nurture it so that the embryo grows into the baby. In IVF, we also implant. So there is a process. I've mentioned this implantation. So what is implantation? The embryo is there. It can be a third day embryo. It can be a fifth day embryo. So once I transfer it inside the uterus, the uterine lining, first of all, it has to accept the embryo. The embryo will get the blood supply, and then the growth happens. This is called implantation. So this doesn't happen all the time. See, we can't do it like, starting from the cycle second day. There are few preparations which goes on. There are few hormones which are involved. So when this process doesn't happen, then pregnancy doesn't happen. This is called implantation failure. So what is recurrent implantation failure? So when this happens multiple times, say 3 times, given good quality embryos, like 4 good embryos or 6 good embryos were transferred. It's not at the time we transfer 2 embryos, 2 good quality, like blastocysts, what we call like day 5 embryos. So when pregnancy doesn't happen, implantation doesn't happen. It's called recurrent implantation failure. So as a clinician, what we think next? So our analysis also will be in like two bases. One is the embryo, next is the
Mm-hmm.
endometrium and the uterus. So
Right.
we'll analyze like what was the quality of the embryo that was transferred, and how was the lining, how was the uterus, is there any problem. ये दोनों चीज हैं, हम इन दोनों पे बहुत ध्यान देते हैं, एंड बिल्कुल हम ट्रांसफर करने से पहले ही इसको बहुत ही एनालाइज करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बिफोर द ट्रांसफर आई सी द यूट्रस, एंड यूट्रस का कोई अनोमलीज नहीं है. अनोमलीज का मतलब क्या है? समटाइम्स see with the birth congenital, what we call, so as
Right.
by birth there might be some sort of a septum, like a small growth inside the uterus. It can be there. There might be a small fibroid, a polypoidal growth of the endometrium. So all this can be there. So if at all something like this is there, it might hinder, it will definitely hinder the implantation of the embryo. There'll be a
Right.
hindrance and implantation cannot happen. So these are the uterine factors. So next comes the lining. So few patients, we might get a challenge with the lining and the thickness. The thickness of the lining, it will not be the growth will not be good, and there is some optimum limit where we expect that it has to come to till that level. That might not happen. So in which case again we analyze, and if any procedures are needed, like routine as in our hospital, in the clinic, we do the ultrasound, and if needed 3D ultrasound is also done, so that we'll see all these septum and all those anomalies. And if need be, we put in a hysteroscope wherein I can visualize the inside of the uterus. If there is any form of adhesions because of some previous surgeries or something, there will be corrective measures which can be done. And yes, in recurrent implantation failure, though these are the things which are important, from embryo point of view also, we generally grade the embryos. Like grading means
Right.
the embryo is called A grade, B grade, and C grade, and days
Right.
also. So on the
Hmm.
first day, the day 0, as we retrieve the egg and the sperm is mixed, or ICSI is done, and then the embryo is formed. So after that, it is counted as day 1, 2, 3, as the fertilization happens, and then it divides. The cells, they grow like 2 cells, 4 cells, and all this happens. So it is the third day, and then there is a stage called blastocyst. Till 5 days, we can keep the embryo very safe. The embryo can be cultured outside in the lab. So after that, we would like to transfer. So in this aspect, there is some grading which embryologist does. So which tells us, so how is the quality? So if we find the grading is not good, then again we go to the, the egg is from the female partner, and then the sperm. So
Right.
we analyze, like, are there any associated medical conditions? Like, is
Hmm.
there any form of diabetes? How is the karyotyping? Do they suffer from any other genetic abnormalities which they are transferring here, which mandates diagnosis, genetic diagnosis before implantation? So all this is done. And for the male partner also, the semen, on looking through microscope, it might look normal, it is motile, good. So there might be some form of oxidative stress if he suffers from some other things. Though all this examination and things, whatever I tell you, every clinician will screen before implantation. And if implantation fails also, we make sure all this is done. And there are few
Okay.
other genetic tests. Yeah.
Hmm. Right. So, ma'am, as you told us that two major things. First is uterus of the female, and another factor is the embryo.
Yeah.
So, let's start with the uterus part. So,
Yeah.
what exactly should be the range of the endometrial lining for healthy implantation?
Yeah. So for healthy implantation, any lining thickness more than 7 millimeters is considered good. But we generally aim a thickness of more than 8 or around 9 millimeters, so that we consider
Okay.
this as optimal. Yeah. Yeah.
And ma'am, if the lining is much more than this, like 11 or 12 mm, so is it safe to transfer the embryo?
No, we generally till 11 millimeters it is okay. Even more than
Okay.
that also, we generally we see the other features also. It's not only just the lining or the measurement. Yes, of course, it's
Mm-hmm.
a important thing. We see other things like we put in a color Doppler. We see the vascularity. How vascular is the endometrium? There are,
Okay.
in depth. If I see, like, there are zones. I can say, as we see, the uterus is like
Mm-hmm.
a very globular structure, and then the endometrium is all around. So from the
Right.
walls, it just goes inside the cavity. So I'll be seeing what is the vascularity from the periphery to inside, like how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
That is one important thing we see. Sometimes we do see the uterine artery Doppler also. And then if it is more than 11 or 12, 13 mm, we'll differ. Maybe she needs a lesser dose of hormone. We explain the patient and then we do it in the next cycle. This is the optimal range is anywhere from more than 7 is good,
Safe.
but
Mm-hmm.
the optimization is from 8 to 11. Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, like more than 11, like 12 or 13. So, is this the basic term we use is bulky uterus?
No, this is not bulky uterus. This can be called a
Okay.
thickened endometrium. So, bulky uterus
Okay.
is something. Bulky uterus is something where the uterus as a whole seems
Mm-hmm.
little bigger when compared to
Okay.
normal uterine measurements. So, bulky uterus, it might happen in few conditions when there are multiple small fibroids on the uterine walls. The uterus might look bulky. If there is a
Mm-hmm.
condition which is called adenomyosis, wherein the uterine walls will react according to the hormones cyclically, in that case, it might result in bulky uterus. So this is bulky uterus. If the endometrium is
Okay.
thick, then it is thickened endometrium. Yeah.
So, with these two conditions, like thickened endometrium and bulky uterus, so we need to cancel that particular cycle transfer.
No, we don't cancel the cycle transfer. As I said, as
Okay.
we screen, and in bulky uterus, there are few medications we might give before we plan for transfer. Like in
Okay.
case of fibroids, if the fibroids are bigger, it is based on the size of the fibroid and location of the
Mm-hmm.
fibroid also. So
Location. Right.
sometimes the fibroids, they come inside the cavity. So by uterus, I mean there is a uterine cavity. Yeah, I can just show you the picture also, so that so this is what we call this is how the uterus looks. So this is the uterus, and this is the cavity of the uterus inside here. So when there is a fibroid or something here in the wall of the uterus, or adenomyosis, which I say they affect here, the uterus might become bulky more than normal.
Okay.
So the endometrium is a lining which grows inside here, and it is thickened. So
Hmm.
when the sometimes fibroids can come inside the cavity also, very close to the cavity. That is called a submucosal fibroid, because the embryo is going to implant here inside the cavity. So when I find a
Right.
fibroid here, the embryo might not get attached to the lining. It might get
Right.
directly implanted very close to the fibroid. That might compromise the blood supply, in which case we'll
Right.
plan for a removal. If the fibroid
Okay.
is somewhere away, then that might not really affect the anywhere in the implantation. If the size is small,
Hmm.
we'll ignore it. If the fibroids are
Okay.
bigger, if it is like more than 5 centimeters, it is going to be bigger, because later also, after the implantation happens during pregnancy and hormonal effect, the fibroids might grow. So we will advise them
Okay.
removal, and then we'll go for transfer. And all these conditions, we might give an injection for down regulation of the
Mm-hmm.
hormone, so that the effect directly doesn't compromise the implantation, and then we go for implantation.
Okay. Okay. And yes, we cleared each and every doubt regarding recurrent failures. So I think Dr. Aarti हमने बहुत कुछ समझाने की कोशिश की and yes, the way you explain things बहुत ही नॉर्मल था, बहुत ही आसान था. आई वुड से लेमैन लैंग्वेज में आपने कोशिश की सब चीजें समझाने की एंड इट रियली हेल्प्ड अ लॉट एंड होपफुली व्यूअर्स को भी सब चीजें क्लियर होंगी. सो थैंक यू डॉक्टर आरती, थैंक यू अगेन फॉर जॉइनिंग अस.
Thank you.
थैंक यू.
Thank you, Purnima.